Hey everyone, welcome to episode 36 of Tuesday Tips. Got the episode right, I'm pretty sure this week. At least the episode number. So, today we're going to be talking about first 8 edges on your big cubes. And while today's the first kind of week in expert tips that goes into more specifics, a specific part of the cube and what we're specifically working on, first 8 edges is by far the part of solving your big cube that requires the least kind of tricks or specific tips, but is more just a general kind of flow and how things go. So if you've noticed, if you ever watched me talk about solving or looking at videos of people solving, then you'll see that during first 8 edges is kind of just a lot of people do the same thing. It's just kind of how fast they see things and how efficient they're being. So the main kind of core ideas behind expert first 8 edges is max efficiency and max look ahead. The biggest thing, the most important thing, is that you need to be versatile with your efficiency, meaning there's a lot of different ways to do some things. So the kind of basics would be like, I made a video on back inserts, which is inserting an edge from the front into the back, making sure you can insert edges into any place on the cube from any spot. So if you have an edge here, you can always insert it like this, but you need to make sure you're ready to insert back edges if you need to bring this back edge to the front to look at it and then insert in front, that's not good. That's not what you're looking for. That's going to stop your efficiency. So, it's all about being able to have different options and be able to use your options in the best way that for the specific case that you have. Another kind of big, along with that, that's reducing your move count. And then another thing is look ahead, and it goes along with move count. You need to be comfortable doing these options. Doing the efficiency options is knowing the options and being able to do them properly. Look ahead is aided a ton by being able to do the options without thinking. So if you see an easy edge case, you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to do this. And then if you see the case and you have to think about it, every move you're doing, okay, so I'm going to do this. And then, okay, I'm going to have to do this flip. And then, oh, now I'm going to flip again. If you're thinking about it, you're not looking for other pieces. So the key part to being a really expert tier first 8 edge solver is being able to see the cases that you have and immediately in your mind know every single move. You should be able to see all your edges. You should be able to find all 4 pieces or 3 or 5 pieces on the edge and be able to do them blindfolded, just like you would be able to do your cross blindfolded on 3x3 inspection. That is pretty much just dependent on doing tons of solves. You need to have seen these cases before and you need to know how to do them. And then that will allow you to look ahead, because obviously you're not going to actually see your edges and put a blindfold on and then do them and then look and just see more edges. The key is that you're looking ahead so you see, oh, I got red and white, red and white, red and white, and my last red and white. So I know from here exactly the moves I'm going to do. And while I was doing those, I saw blue and yellow, blue and yellow, and blue and yellow. And I can lead straight into 3 edges here. So that's because I saw the edges. I didn't have to think about it. I could have done it blindfolded. But instead of being blindfolded, I looked for other pieces and found them there. And the last big thing about first 8 edges on big cubes is, so you have being able to do efficient moves, being able to do those moves without thinking so you can have good look ahead, and then being able to execute moves, like the actual physical execution of the moves. So it's pretty common when you're doing, so say you have 3 blue and yellows and you have a blue and yellow here, it might feel more comfortable to do a turn slice like this and then turn back up like that. That's fine. It's not going to cost you that much time, but when you're kind of at a world-class level, you need to be able to comfortably do moves like this. On 5x5 and 6x6, it's not a big issue, but when you're on 7x7 and you need to move like these 2 layers at the same time right here, doing a U-wide, being able to do like either a U-wide 3 and then a U-wide back like this, or if you need to realign centers like this, oops, I messed it up. See, it's kind of tough, depending on the magnets and stuff, but being able to do your layers properly is kind of tricky and something that's really important to get used to. It's something I need to work on as well, but you don't want to ever have to rotate here to do slices. If you can do the entire thing holding your slice edges on the same layer, it's going to help you out a lot because you won't have to keep doing weird rotations. So just to kind of, while I was doing that, I actually thought of a couple more specific things. So This is actually kind of a big deal, actually. I don't know why I haven't mentioned this yet. But the biggest thing was know how much you can save. So, for instance, let's say we're doing 7x7 and let's say we're doing 7x7 and we run into something like this. So, we're doing 7x7, we have 3 blue and whites here, and we have 3 blue and yellows and a blue and white here. So, we have 2 really good edges. Having 3 are all aligned in a row and the same edge is really nice and something we definitely want to use. So in this case, I would definitely, if you're an advanced level solver, I would highly recommend making this blue and white here. And then either A, if you're not as comfortable, if you're more an intermediate level solver, you can go ahead and put this edge in the top to save it for later and bring down something with nothing made. But at some level, you really want to start doing, you can leave this edge over here, so you know you have these 3 pieces. And then while you're finishing up this edge, you should be tracking where the pieces from this edge go. So in this case, I know I finished the blue and white edge, and I have my 2 blue and yellow edges here, and then I have 1 in the back, so it's fine. And I can do I can remove like this. So tracking all these pieces during advanced edge pairing is kind of tricky, but if you're only keeping track of 2 edges at a time, it's not too big of a deal. The real problem is when you start moving on to 3 edges at a time. Like if you get, if you have a case where you have 3 edges that are all really nice, and you are starting to mess around and slice them up, either A, you need to forget about one of them because trying to keep track of too much at once will certainly slow you down, or B, throw one of them in the U or D layer. That is going to be a detriment to your solves. It takes like a second to do that, but if it's a very easy edge, it's definitely going to be worth the save, and especially if you're not going to be able to keep track of it easily. The biggest thing is that if you can keep track of your edges, if you're working on multiple, if you're trying to save easy ones, then that's the best option, but a lot of times that's too hard. Never start, like if you're on 7x7, never start an edge that, oh, I have 1. If this is your start, blue or orange and yellow, and you see 2 orange and yellows, that's not good enough. For 7x7, there's going to be an edge where you see 3 easy to start edge pieces. They don't all have to be in the same edge, but usually they're going to be 3 pieces solved like a couple moves away. So like this is 3 and that was 1 move. That's already better than the orange and yellow. So yeah, I think I know for a fact that in most of my Tuesday tip videos, I've gone over all the tips, all kind of the tricks I use for super advanced edge pairing. It's not that nothing involved in super advanced edge pairing is really, for first 8 edges at least, is really that tricky or hard to pick up. It's kind of just an overall mastery of everything and making sure you A, can do it correctly, like can do it without thinking, can look ahead while you're doing it, and B, using the right the actual physical execution. And then I guess to add as an add-on is not getting ahead of yourself, and always knowing your limits in terms of how much you can save, how much tricky stuff you can be doing, how much look ahead you should be doing. And then overall, I've mentioned this before, is just in general, you should be turning at a slow enough speed to where you can track all your pieces at the same time. If you're turning too fast, then you can't track your pieces, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose of looking ahead while you're building your edges.